This is When Science Speaks, a new web series profiling innovative and interesting people working in science and technical fields, from academia to industry to the nonprofit world. We explore how to be a powerhouse advocate for science and your research, how to advance your career in meaningful ways that make you happy, and how to push back on the ongoing assault on science and other related issues of interest happening in the world.
Well, hey everyone, it's Mark Bayer, and you are tuned to When Science Speaks. This episode of the show is sponsored by OneSkin. Led by Ph.D. scientists dedicated to helping people age in a healthy, vibrant way, OneSkin patented the first protein building block scientifically proven to reverse aging at the molecular level. Listeners of When Science Speaks receive a special 15% discount off an entire OneSkin order. That's any products. There's no minimum purchase. Just go to oneskin.co and use the promo code SCIENCE15, the word science with the number 15 next to it, at checkout. We'll also have a link in the show notes. It is so wonderful to have Dr. Natalia Bielczyk on the show today. Natalia is a career and business advisor. She's a bootstrapper, neuroscientist, speaker, author, and blogger. In 2018, she launched a public foundation to help early career researchers find new careers in industry. She then founded Ontology of Value, which is an R&D and education company developing new tools and practices to help professionals with a PhD craft their dream careers and businesses create high-performing, healthy, and happy teams. Natalia is the author of the book, What Is Out There For Me? The Landscape of Post-PhD Career Tracks. She also has a YouTube channel and educational blog. And of course, we'll have links to all of these resources in the show notes accompanying the episode. Natalia graduated from the College of Interfaculty Individual Studies in Mathematics and Natural Sciences at the University of Warsaw in Poland with a triple MS degree in physics, mathematics, because a double major was just not enough for Natalia. She has a triple master's. She also earned her PhD in computational neuroscience at the Donders Institute for Brain, Cognition, and Behavior in the Netherlands. Welcome to the show, Natalia.
Thank you so much for your introduction, Mark. Great to see you again. Thank you so much for your invitation. I was looking forward to this conversation, and especially since the job market is changing so quickly these days, I think it's really important to talk about PhD careers, but not only PhD careers, but the job market in general. And I think these are definitely interesting times. So I'm very excited for this conversation.
Same here. And we're talking right now in late March of 2023, just to give listeners context. Before we talk about the job market and the really cool things that you're doing to help PhDs find dream careers and businesses with their teams, I want to start with asking you when you decided that you wanted to pursue professional opportunities outside of academia.
It was a process. For me, it was not just one day or one single decision. I think I just grew into it over time. So when I was finishing my PhD contract, I was still full on my path to become a professor in neuroscience. That was always my dream ever since I was, I think, early undergraduate student. I already had that vision in my mind that this is for me, that I really want to be a professional researcher. And I never even thought about other options. But when my contract ended, I felt like I have some savings. I can start exploring and I can just give myself time. Also because my PhD was quite physically and emotionally draining for me. It was really challenging time. I thought, okay, I can just be good to myself. I can give myself time. I don't have to rush with submitting my thesis the next day. I have that comfort to explore and to go to meetups, to maybe pick up some hobbies and see what it goes. And I never really had that syndrome of what do I do with my day. I always had too many ideas of what to do with my time. When my contract ended, I was just finding like all these interesting projects. Some of them were voluntary, like charity projects for the Organization for Human Brain Mapping. And I started my career in mentoring there. So I become career development and mentoring manager for their student board. And that was amazing experience. That's probably changed my career because that's where I caught the bug for mentoring and for career development. And I also got involved in a startup culture, which is quite massive in the Netherlands. So Netherlands has this entrepreneurial spirit promoting small businesses. And I had plenty of friends also because I was a very bad cryptocurrency trader back then. And I was going to a lot of cryptocurrency related meetups. And I met a lot of people active in IT industry in general over there. And I've developed some affinity to business development there. I felt, okay, it seems that with my background in neuroscience, in academic research, I can see myself still contributing to developing businesses. And my ideas, for some reason, they met with a lot of appreciation, and some of them helped my friends develop their business and their business models and business plans. And I was like, hey, I can do this. I like this game. This is a sort of a different game than academic game, but I feel like it's enjoyable. It's very rewarding to play, and I can actually help people build innovation. So that was also something that I started enjoying naturally. And in the end, I decided that I should go my own way and start my own company. I don't really want to be dependent on somebody else. And I decided to go for solopreneurship because I felt if you don't have a natural candidate for a co-founder, just looking just to have a co-founder, that doesn't really make sense. That leads to disaster typically because it's like a marriage. So if you don't have really that sparring partner who is there from the beginning of the process, and then just looking for that person or people, that's not necessary. And I felt like I had a concept, I knew what I was doing, so I decided to proceed.
Natalia, let me ask you why you think it is so challenging to find a career path as a PhD. We'll just talk about outside of academia. I know it can be really difficult inside the academy too, but just focusing on outside academia, why do you think it's so hard to find a meaningful career outside of academia with your PhD?
There are a few different reasons. We are being trained from early age, and we have that social proof as well. So we are considered contributors to society. And I felt that what I was told in academia, I'm the bright side of the force, and the business is on the dark side. And then whoever is working for profit is
The bad guys.
the bad guys. Yeah, these are the bad guys, and we are the good guys. And being grown up as a professional this way, it's really like somewhere in your subconsciousness and sticks there for a long time. And I think I'm still, even now, like a few years after my transition, I'm still fixing my relationship with money because I still see some elements that I could tweak to make it healthier. Natural or trained difficulty to convert value into money.
Mhm.
I'm like constantly working on. I also help other people work on it. But I have to say, even for me, myself, just the process is difficult because of this academic training. But that can be the curse of abundance, obviously. Like PhD graduates typically have a lot of general competence. So like we have to play roles on our project. So we are to some extent jacks of all trades, and we have many doors we could cross, we could go through after a PhD. And sometimes at some point you have to make a decision, and taking decisions, of course, it shouldn't be rushed decision, but you also like it shouldn't take years to say you have to choose something. And so it's a really difficult, especially this first choice is really difficult because you have so limited information, limited amount of knowledge,
Mhm.
what is out there. That's also why I wrote my book, because I felt like you should have a cheat sheet. You should have some sort of information that is like a crude first zoom into the job market, into all the landscape of options, and that could give you a flavor for what type of different work environments are there.
You're starting to touch upon it, but I want to draw it out a bit. Like your advice for first year PhD students and for PhD candidates and graduates who are thinking of starting a new career, what should they be thinking about if they're decided, for example, either that they want to find a job outside of academia or they're contemplating the options?
When I was starting my PhD in 2013, it was still a climate or an atmosphere that, like in academia, that like academic career should be your plan
Mhm.
A. That should be your ambition. If you're starting a PhD without that ambition, you're doing it wrong. And now I think it's slowly becoming a standard to start a PhD thinking about it as the last stage of your education. I see increasing numbers of first year that actually think about it as a school where they can get some really top-notch skills that they will then bring with them to industry and and that's where the career actually starts. And I think this is the right approach because even looking at the statistics, like statistics don't lie, like your chances of staying in academia are so slim. That would be just very risky. I would even say responsible to assume that this is your destination once you're entering grad school. And also the job market is changing so quickly. Once you're starting your PhD studies, like you are planning ahead for a few years, and in 5 years, the profession you were going for might already be like knocked out by AI. There might be like a very different landscape. Planning for so much ahead in terms of like specific career paths, I think it doesn't make sense anymore. So, what I would advise to first year PhDs, first of all, you have to keep your mind open to any scenario at this point. The academic system is also changing and evolving. So, who knows, maybe in 20 to 30 years, we won't have that same system, like structural system we have now. Maybe it will be more project based. Maybe the assignments between a PhD student and their supervisor will not be one on one like now. Who knows? You have to focus on yourself and building a skill set, and more than publication record, building that are the most possible skills. So think about what you're naturally good at, your natural talents, and try to build a portfolio of skills around those natural talents, because this is at the end what defines you, your natural abilities, your unique skills, your unique talents, and also your personality next to it. So you have to be that combo of unique skills and personality traits that make people want to work with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for underlining that. And I want to ask you about the Ontology of Value Test that you've developed, and that's really the flagship machine learning backed tool for your company. If you could explain to listeners how that works and what results people have received.
So my favorite topic, obviously, the biggest project I was working on in my company so far. In this project, the concept is to give you, as a participant, to give you a tool to figure out where your competitive advantage in the job market is. So in which particular roles on teams and in which particular working environments you would perform best given your natural personality, working style, and values and beliefs that you have, and also natural ways of making connections with people. It's developed actually in a quite a scientific way based on the literature by Alfred Adler, who was one of the biggest psychologists of the 20th century, next to Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. And basically, yeah, his philosophy was more focused on looking for individual source of value rather than personality traits or balance between inner world and outer world, like in Jung's case. So he had a different philosophy, and I really love his work. I think it's create a massive value. And so basically that's the like theoretical basis. What it means in practice is that we conducted a huge study to try to find the patterns between the ways you make decisions in your professional life and in like daily professional life and your potential in the job market. And we mapped that out. So in this test, you go through 128 questions, which is quite massive. I have to say this is a challenging test, but it was meant to be for people who are also very serious about their career. So it will require you to put some attention and answer a few quite challenging questions. But what you get at the end is the ranking of all the roles on the team that you naturally are best at creating value in. And then next to it, the ranking of work environments such as entrepreneurship, consulting, academia. There are 8 different categories. And then you get a ranking in percentiles that compares you to the population, showing you where you have the natural, like the most natural ability to perform. So this is one tool that gives you a lot of answers to a lot of questions at one go. And so far, so good. So far, the response was highly positive. I'm quite amazed because when I was starting this project, I was not sure what will come out of it. Like when you try to create some innovative solution, you never know, especially given that it was based on a study. How it is with scientific studies, like it's a bit of a shot in the dark, but yeah, so far so good. Yeah, I'm very happy with the results. And
Really cool. That is
yeah,
so cool. And we'll have a link, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, so that people can find out more about the Ontology of Value tool and how to get in touch with you about it. Thinking about the tool and the career paths, maybe that are a result of completion of that 128 question survey, what are some of the best career paths, do you think, for PhDs in 2023? Of course, we're speaking generally, but what are some of the ones that you think have shown to be both financially rewarding, but also that have been fulfilling?
So again, that's like a very good question because there's such an abundance right now. If you asked me this question a year ago, I would give you a very different answer. But now I think after this whole like AI revolution that happened last few months, I think that what AI is doing is basically taking over all the specialistic jobs that are easy to operationalize and have low human factor to it, like coding or writing text, just combining information from many sources. So it really depends on what your PhD was about. But I think the safest way to go about it is to find a way to work with people using your background in sciences. For instance, if you're a fresh graduate, you might be thinking of joining a large organization that gives you a lot of room for growth. And then, of course, only once you have the desire to work with people, because then if you don't, then that's a different question. But if I was about to start my industry career and I wasn't interested in content creation and like careers based on personal brand, like my job right now, then I would probably choose a large organization and I would make sure that on my career path, I open myself doors to manage people, because this is something, obviously you can build a bot to manage, but that's not the gist. That's not the core of management. That's not how it works, because people really want to work with people. So I think, yeah, if you go toward R&D, but open doors for potentially manage teams, become project manager, product manager, team leader. There are so many different ways of development there. Then I think this is like a relatively safe path still. This just one example, because when you think about it, it really depends on your specialization of your field of expertise. But overall, I wouldn't panic. I think that historically, the development of technology usually created more jobs rather than, obviously it was killing professions, but at the same time, it was also opening new options for new types of professions. Like even this year, like prompt engineer is a job that didn't exist literally half a year ago, and now it's like one of the hottest positions. And I could see many openings, even on LinkedIn, like prompt engineer is like one of the hottest types of jobs. I'm positive about it. I think after all, you really have to focus on yourself and what you're good at and how to communicate it on social media, in person, but also on this mesoscale level, so through communities. So you have to really, more than ever, be a good networker and establish your values, establish your core competencies, and just vocalize them and make sure that, because it's a bit like with gym, like every day you make a little effort and then results only after a long time. So you have to be very open and vocal about what your strengths are, offer your help to other people, and that's how you build your personal brand. It will not happen overnight, but this is exactly what your professional future will be. You have to be known for who you are.
Really great advice. As we wrap up, Natalia, I want to ask you about luck and whether you believe in luck in career development and whether that's something that can be fostered. Sometimes I feel like the harder I work, the luckier I get, or I think it's Edison's famous quote about luck is a residue of design. But I'd love to get your take on that and have you share it with listeners.
Interestingly, I had a lot of discussions about inflection points with friends here in Bay Area where I'm currently. And so what the idea of inflection points is that these are these like events that for most people happen only a few times in a lifetime, that actually effectively change your storyline, right? Your career. Like you meet a very special person who opens some door for you, or you win a competition, you get a grant. There are only like these scarce events that can put your career on the next level and your life in general. And we had a lot of discussions on how to create those inflection points, because the only systematic way that is known is birthright, but I think it's not a really good answer to the question. The question is how to generate those inflection points and how much real impact they have on your career. In my mind, the way I like to live and what I also tell to people I work with is luck is a factor in career, but it should not be necessary. So yeah, there are people who make careers by virtue of luck. They just happen to know someone who has major impact and can get them to the right position, etc. But it's first of all, once you get lucky once, it's not reproducible. So sometimes that's also why these like overnight careers often fizzle out quickly, because you get lucky once, but you don't know how to utilize this luck properly. And then in the long run, you come back to the baseline. Versus when you don't have luck, you still can systematically become successful. That's my belief, that there are enough options with a combination of self-development, proper self-observation, self-navigation, and hard work and proper networking strategy. You can get anywhere you want. Unless you want to be a prima ballerina at my age, then maybe not. But
I love that though. For me, it's engagement, like you were saying, really engagement and authentic engagement
yeah.
with people around you. Dr. Natalia Bielczyk, wonderful insights. You have a breadth of experience that is really going to be helpful for listeners to learn from. Thanks for taking time out to be on the show. It's been wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mark. It's always great to see you. And I wish you best of luck as well. Luck is something that is always welcome, right?
Sure.
So,
Thank you. And listeners, thank you for being here on this episode of When Science Speaks. And I hope you'll be back next time for the next episode of When Science Speaks.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to click subscribe. Check us out on the web at whensciencespeaks.com, and we'll see you next time.